President Biden is set to tape an interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos today in Wisconsin. It's scheduled to air tonight, part of an effort to course correct after his disastrous debate last week. He addressed that in 2 radio interviews yesterday.
One, I had a bad night. And the fact of the matter is that, I screwed up. I made a mistake. But I learned from my father, when you get knocked down, just get back up. A bad debate.
Yeah.
I had a bad debate. But 90 minutes on stage does not erase what I've done for 3.5 years.
All of this comes amid accusations that many in the media have long covered for Biden. One new opinion piece is titled, quote, "Joe Biden can't survive without media production." It reads in part, quote, "Imagine being given the coveted job of holding the most powerful man in the world accountable and deciding instead of holding him accountable to become partners in a cover-up out of fear of getting yelled at by his staff and angry leftists on social media. Now that the media have decided to actually cover this issue, it means they will scrutinize all of his public appearances. And under scrutiny, there will be no hiding his condition. He is now a naked target." An Axios analysis finds Biden has only done 164 press conferences and media interviews this year. That's fewer than any of the last 7 presidents at this point in their terms. Tomi Lahren, OutKick host, is here. That is fewer than Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan was shot early in his term. Tomi, it has been a tsunami, a flood, an inundation of stories out of the Washington Post, Axios, Politico, the New York Times, you name it, just in the last 2 days about what's been going on with Biden and his cognitive decline over the last 3.5 years, because they didn't write anything until that debate.
Yeah, Dagan, I think it's one of the greatest political cover-ups in history when you really consider the work that the media did to shield and to coddle Joe Biden and the entire administration. So I know that there are going to be a lot of folks tonight anxiously awaiting this ABC News sit-down with George Stephanopoulos and President Joe Biden. But my eyes are not so much on Joe as on ABC News. Will ABC News play ball? Will they continue to play the game? Or will they vow to air this interview unedited and to show moments where perhaps President Biden might slip, where he might lose his train of thought? How honest and transparent will ABC News and George Stephanopoulos be with the American people about the Joe Biden that they get today in that sit-down interview? A lot of folks are very uncomfortable that it's a taped interview. Now, ABC has said that they will put out the unedited transcript. But, Dagan, we've heard this before. Sometimes when they tell us the transcripts are unedited, that's simply not the case. Erasing certain words, certain verbal pauses in some situations might not seem important, but when it's dealing with this president and his cognitive decline, even erasing little words or missteps, that becomes critical in understanding the state of this president. So to me, it's up to ABC News to be honest with the American people. They have a chance to do that tonight. We'll have to see if they take that opportunity.
Politico came out with a list of questions that George Stephanopoulos should ask Joe Biden. Here are just a few of them. Will you fully release all medical records, including those that go well beyond what you've released to date? Do you find that your mind has gone blank or your mind is racing? What's it like for you? Here's number 3. Were you aware of the ongoing efforts by your staff to insulate you from detailed interviews, sharply reducing your schedule? I could go on. I could come up with 100 questions that need to be asked.
There are so many questions the American people have about his cognitive state, but I'll say, Dagan, that to me is also a little disappointing because we're spending so much time, and rightfully so, talking about the current president's cognitive decline and where he is mentally and physically, and we're really not talking a lot about the issues because this president has to answer for more than just his physical and mental state. He has to answer for the state and the status of this nation. And unfortunately, we are being completely distracted from having that discussion. So if they do replace Joe Biden, and I still believe that's going to happen, we'll have spent so much time just talking about the man and the messenger and not enough about the message, which plug and play any Democrat, they're going to have the same Joe Biden agenda. So I think we need to talk about Joe Biden's physical and mental state, but we can't let him get off the hook by the state of this country. And unfortunately, that's being lost in a lot of these discussions right now. Alex Thompson at Axios made this kind of very salient point on X just a short while ago, speaking about Vice President Kamala Harris. And these are my words, but it's his point. She has been the biggest cover-up operative for Joe Biden. I say biggest. But she's run cover for this man for 3.5 years. Remember her reaction to Special Counsel Robert Hur's report? She called it gratuitous, inaccurate, and inappropriate. Some of the language that she used to describe it was really kind of astonishing. She said the way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts and is clearly politically motivated. It's knowing what we know, that how does she even wind up at the top of the ticket if he drops out? Well, I think that's exactly it. I think as Kamala Harris gets more ambitious and the opportunity arises for her to assume that position, I think she'll start throwing President Joe Biden under the bus with far more frequency. I don't think that she will run cover anymore, but I think she's done it up to this point because no one's been throwing her name out. It hasn't been until the last couple of days that anybody has ever uttered the word Kamala Harris for president. Everybody else, including myself, have been talking about Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, and others. They haven't been talking about Kamala, and for good reason. And I think the reason that you're seeing these governors actually say, we're sticking with Joe, he's still in it to win it, is because they really don't want to have to defend Kamala Harris. That must be really rough for her. And every American's left asking the question, who is running the country? Who has been running the country for the last 3.5 years? Tomi Lahren, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much. I will see you very soon.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.